Wednesday night, though, saw the Blues level the series with what was such an impressive win. Bill, for yourself, though, it was pretty hard going, especially in that first half. You've had a fair few days to digest it all. I think it's pretty fair to say a lot of people, a lot of Queenslanders would have been pretty shell-shocked, especially in that first half. How do you reflect on it now?
Well, getting better by the day, Danica. Look, if it didn't mean so much, it wouldn't hurt so much, I suppose. And the game was the first half, 34-0. And, you know, the one thing that I did learn is you can't win a game of football without the football. You know, that little white thing in the middle of the ground is the most important thing. And to have 30% of it and give the opposition 70% in the first half, we need to find a way to not do that. It was a 6-0 penalty count after 30 minutes, so we need to find a way to be more disciplined. And we made, you know, more than, well, the opposition had more than double play the balls in that first half. So to give a team like New South Wales, and credit where credit is due, I heard you say on the Sunday, Sports Sunday there, Freddie, you know, they were near perfect. You know, so they did a great job. They played, you know, to their capabilities, and we certainly didn't. So that's something that we'll be trying to rectify for Game 3.
Billy, was there anything in your preparation that, when you look back in hindsight, where you could see that coming?
Yeah, well, obviously, the one thing that I have learned over the last couple of decades is the first person you need to look at is yourself. You know, players will look at themselves. I'll look at myself and our coaching staff and our preparation, but on face value, not really. But I'll dig deeper into that and work out what we need for Game 3.
So when you look at the bench, your bench was very experienced. You know, obviously that was your mindset going in. You thought you needed an experienced bench. Do you feel like that's going to win you Game 3, have an experienced bench compared to maybe someone younger and, you know, more, I don't know?
Yeah, there's a lot of details in and around it, and you can look at the bench, but at the end of the day, those things that I spoke about off the top, you know, that's the priority. If you don't get them right, it doesn't matter who your bench are, it doesn't matter who your players are. You know, you saw the players out on the field. It's a hard game to play at the best of times. It makes it near impossible when you're tired. You know, we talk about the fatigue in NRL games, but if you give the opposition that much football and the quality that they have in their team, it's a tough game to play.
Look like you've lost Xavier Coates with a handball.
Yeah.
Look like he'll be out. New South Wales left side, the 1-2 punch of Angus Crichton and Latrell Mitchell. Will you look to make changes in and around Valentine Holmes on that right side?
Well, Xavier Coates is not going to be there. He did his hamstring last night. You know, looked in awful discomfort. You know, the first feeling goes to Xavier. I know how hard he's worked. This is not the first hamstring that he's done this year, so I really feel for him. So there will be a change on that side. No Xavier Coates, and you know there's a number of options. So that's something that I'll talk to the selectors over the week. Players have still got to play this weekend. They've got to play next weekend. You just don't know who's available. This is Xavier Coates doing his hamstring last night, so he looked quite dejected.
So the hammer went off. How's his shoulder? What's the reports on that?
Yeah, AC. By all reports, it's not overly bad. He won't play this weekend. They've got to bye next weekend, so I'd expect him to be available. But that just throws another curveball our way as well. Like, we have to take Hammer off and then put him back on. There's 2 interchanges, so you go from 8 to 6 straight away. It just makes it a little bit more difficult. And you know, I spoke after the game and spoke about things snowballed against us. All these things accumulated against us. A lot of them were our doing, and that's what we need to focus on, the stuff that's in our control.
Billy, will you talk to the NRL about how the game was officiated? New South Wales walked a pretty fine line the whole way through it. Were you happy with Ashley Klein's performance? Do you want him for Game 3? Will you talk to Jared Maxwell about his performance in Game 2? Yeah,
look, I think it's really important for us to focus on what we can control. We can't control that. There's no use putting energy into that when you can't control it. So, you know, that's the standard of the game, and we need to control our actions.
Is that something that is likely to happen?
I don't think it's a lock for Game 3. I spoke to the NRL today. I don't think internally they thought he had his best game, Ashley Klein, but I think like players, he's got to perform in the next couple of weeks before he gets the gig for the third game up there.
Bill, in your post-match press conference, you were asked about whether you would be making changes, and you responded with "We're still Queenslanders." It has been a bit of a hot topic among New South Welshmen. Can you clarify what you meant by it? Were you talking about
think people jump all over. People don't understand. Well, you two can talk. As a player, when you lost an Origin, it was devastating. But as a coach, it seems to amplify it tenfold. How hard is it losing an Origin as a coach, especially in those conditions?
It's different. It's definitely a different feeling. It's a different feeling preparing for an Origin. Sitting in the dressing rooms, knowing that your team are going out to play and you've got very limited control at that point. As a player, and we've played the game, you're sitting there super confident in what you can do. You're like, I got this, just relax. Whereas as a coach, it's very different. Look, that comment was probably not even referred to from that question. In tough times, you've got to remember who you are. And, you know, Queensland had a tough night. We got 5.5 million people up there, and this is their footy team. And, you know, they'd be hurting from that performance. But at the end of the day, it's 1-1 in the series, and there's a decider in 2.5 weeks. And, you know, Queensland will remember that. They'll remember who they are, and the players will remember who they are. And that was referencing that.
How hard is it to do that press conference after a loss? Yeah. How difficult is it?
They're difficult at the best of times with Webby and the crew sitting there. But
I tell you, only if you lose a series. Like, you know, and I'm not saying you're going to, you know.
Well, I saw you
I'm
last
going for
year.
New South Wales, but I'm saying when you sit there at the end of it, because the one thing I found, like with Origin especially, because everyone else sort of goes back to their life. You know, that's a big thing with Origin. It's so intense. But all the players then go back to their club and everyone goes back on and gets on with their life with their club. As a coach, I sat there for ages. You could sit there for a while and just, you know, regurgitating what goes on in your head and what you said and who you picked and all this sort of stuff. It hangs with you. So, you know, it's tricky.
Well, how long did it take you to get over last year's loss?
It takes ages. You dwell on it.
Can you put...
well, I think
weeks?
what happened is, mostly, you know, the fact is the job came up. I didn't take the job offer, and that's sort of, at that stage, that's where it actually goes away. So, you know, it just takes weeks and weeks and weeks.
Do you feel like you're over it? Yeah.
No, day by day. Okay. Getting better. But it means so much to so many people. It means so much to the New South Wales people, so much to the Queensland people, the players. You can see how much it means to everyone. You know, it's through the journalism. You know, it's why our game is so big. It's why State of Origin is at the pinnacle of our game, is because it means so much to so many people, us as coaches included.